I've my New Year's wish is that my city would make the news for something positive as opposed to something like incredibly stupid and heinous. Okay? Like that I don't want much. I'm not a high maintenance type of guy. But if there's one thing I want, one thing I desire in my heart of hearts, it is that my city makes national news for something besides the police murdering somebody or the police slamming into a gay bar and then beating up and arresting the owner, saying that he committed an assault about them. So let's just look at this, okay? Let's just look. Okay, so there's the cops just speeding down the fucking street, swerving, and then plowing right into the front of this gay bar. Let's watch that again in case y'all missed something, and let's slow it down a little bit. Let's put it at half speed because maybe I'm missing something. Okay, so you see the cops. Boom. Okay, this is indefensible. Like, there is no defense for this. If this was a normal person driving like this, they would be arrested for property damage and reckless driving and a bunch of other things. But since these are cops, it's the bar owner's fault. So, um, this crash that the cops caused, this was a single car accident, led to the bar's co-owner being charged with felony assault. So this was Monday morning, very early in the morning at 12:30, shortly after midnight. And this video that I just showed you was taken by a security camera on the opposite side of the street as the bar. It shows the cruiser appearing. It's not appearing, it is traveling at a high rate of speed, aka speeding, reckless and dangerous driving. It veers past the side of a parked car, one that it didn't appear to be any danger of hitting, and careens across two wide open lanes and into the gay bar, the LGBTQ establishment. The collision has developed into a national news story in the past day because after St. Louis police crashed their SUV into the bar, they arrested its co owner for felony assault. This is embarrassing for the police department, says Javel Kazali, the attorney for Bar PM co owner Chad Morris. Morris was the guy who was arrested. So, this is how the cops wrote it up: incident, department accident, assault fourth degree on law enforcement officer and resisting arrest. Location 7109 South Broadway, RPM. Date time December 18th, 2023 at 12:29 a.m. Victim number 1, 56-year-old Hispanic male St. Louis City police officer with 29 years of service. Victim number 2, these are the cops. These are the cops that were involved in this incident. 45-year-old black male St. Louis City police officer with 14 years of service. Driver number 1, 32-year-old white male St. Louis City probation officer with less than 1 year of service. So this rookie probation officer was the guy that caused the crash. Passenger number 1, 22-year-old Hispanic male St. Louis City probation officer with less than 1 year of service. Offender, not the cops, not the probation officer, not the guy that slammed into the front of this fucking building. The offender is a 37-year-old white male, Chad Morris, the guy who responded to his establishment being like slammed into by these pigs. Vehicle 2020 Chevrolet Tahoe, police vehicle. Officer responded to a call for a department accident at the above location. Preliminary investigation revealed driver number 1 and passenger number 1 were traveling northbound on South Broadway when driver number 1 believed he was traveling too close to a parked car, and as the Riverfront Times article just said, he was not in any danger of hitting this car and attempted to correct himself. This action caused driver number 1, a 32-year-old white male St. Louis City probationary officer with less than 1 year of service, to lose control of his vehicle and crash into the above building. The offender, note that they're constantly blaming the fucking guy who had his property destroyed by these pigs, responded to the scene and became upset over the incident, rightfully so, and then began shouting obscenities toward the officers on scene. Again, rightfully so. Victim number one attempted to calm the situation. No, he didn't. However, victim number one was shoved in his chest by the offender. Bullshit. Victim number two attempted to handcuff the offender, but the offender refused and was taken to the ground where he disobeyed all verbal commands. I mean, yeah, the cops just slammed into your fucking building, and then in response, they proceed to put handcuffs on you and throw you down on the ground and cursing at you and beat the shit out of you. They beat the shit out of this guy. Eventually, officers were able to place the offender in handcuffs and all resisting ceased. The offender was conveyed to a hospital complaining of a pre-existing condition. No officers were injured from the vehicle accident. The investigation is ongoing. So a local comrade, Ty, says that if you're an alderman, I literally don't want to hear one word from you about this incident unless you do something about the laws that make it possible for this to happen. Or you are really that tone deaf. Jesus fucking Christ. So the attorney, Javad Kazali, says that the videos that were taken at the bar itself contradict the story that's being told by the cops, the lies that are being told by the cops. So they took this guy to jail and they accused him of felony assault. Even if he did shove the cop, I don't see how that is. How is that felony assault? Like, okay, I come push you. That's felony assault. I guess because you have a blue bag on and a fucking badge that makes you special. You can just slam into people's property, and then when they start yelling at you and demanding that you pay for the damage, then you have the right to just stack charges up on them. Thankfully, the felony charge was dropped. So Kazali says that this is embarrassing for the police department. And he goes on to say that there are multiple videos of the collision and its aftermath that tell a different story than the one the police are alleging and show that Morris's arrest was unwarranted. So his husband, his co-owner of this bar, James Pence, who actually both of them live above this bar, said that when he came downstairs to find an officer demanding to see his ID, he refused, and he was spun around and placed in handcuffs. He wasn't arrested, but Morris was, and was accused of felony assault on a police officer and misdemeanor resisting arrest. Police claimed in charging documents that after the crash, Morris screamed obscenities. One officer wrote that he struck me hard in the chest with an open hand, causing me to temporarily lose my balance. So my fucking my guess is that all of these motherfuckers were drunk or high. Like, that accident, like, that was a drunk driving accident. Like, no question about it. The cops are never going to say it, but that was a drunk driver move. Like, ain't no way in the world you're going to overcorrect that hard, veer across two clear lanes, shortly after midnight, and then hit a building. Like, that's a drunk driving move. That's some DUI shit. Like, cops drive drunk and high in St. Louis all the time. The cop that murdered Vonderett Myers in the Shaw neighborhood, Flannery, he ended up totaling his squad car because he was off his fucking mind on cocaine. This happens all over the country. And like Ty said, like, until you start holding these cops accountable, this shit is going to continue to happen because I know they can get away with it. Not just get away with it, but hold the victims of police crimes that they commit while they are eating up our tax dollars. They're just going to hold you accountable for their fuck up. Like, in no way in the world would this guy in a just world be arrested and charged with felonies after suffering this type of damage to his property. So there's a 20-minute bystander video of this incident. They unlawfully handcuffed Mr. Pence. They falsely claim that speaking loudly is against the law, and they use that as a predicate to arrest Mr. Morris. It shows the 20-minute video shows Pence being put in handcuffs. At one point, the person filming the video asks what crime has been committed. An unidentified St. Louis Metropolitan Police officer responds, a disturbance. A disturbance that you all caused. The officer then walks toward the person taking the video and says, "He is not going to yell at me. That's causing a disturbance." At no time does the 20-minute bystander video show Morris striking an officer in the chest. The police vehicle was driven by a 32-year-old probationary officer. So it's not a PO. It's not a probation officer. It's a probationary officer. Basically, you're a cop and you're working with other cops and you're under the supervision of other cops until you like officially earn your badge, I guess. So the video states, it shows that they lost control of the vehicle, and immediately the cops became aggressive with everybody in the area to cover up what they did. Morris was ordered to be held without bond in the City Justice Center on Monday. This guy spent 36 hours, if I recall correctly, in jail for no reason. It is unclear as of right now when Morris will have a bond hearing, though one is expected to occur either later today or tomorrow morning at the latest. So yeah, they just trampled all over this fucking guy's constitutional rights and treat him like shit because of some shit that they did. So we've got the St. Louis Board of Alderman President Meg Green, DSA member as well. Her spokesperson, Yusuf Danishar, said that after learning about the damage caused by the two STL MPD officers at Bar PM, Ms. Green contacted owners Chad Morris and James Pence with legal representation. Mr. Morris's release from the City Justice Center is the right first step, but it shouldn't be the last. We firmly believe that the charges against him should be dropped. Moreover, this incident demonstrates the need for greater oversight of law enforcement, citizen oversight in particular. That's why President Green is calling for the immediate release of dash cam and body camera footage related to the incident. Bar PM has been a safe, inclusive space for the LGBTQIA community in St. Louis. Members of the Board of Aldermen are showing their support alongside residents by visiting Bar PM tonight. So, Solidarity Bar Crawl. The President's office hopes Chad and James recover from this incident and can continue serving their community in the years ahead. So, very nice statement from the Board of Aldermen, the President. In theory, police are supposed to protect and serve rather than recklessly ram their vehicles into South City split uses. I can't imagine living upstairs of your business and that happen to you. Then you get arrested and held without bond. Also, these are objectively the best Cheez-Its. I will not deal with any opposition on that point. And of course, I have to give a shout out to my city because my city was mentioned, although for an iniquitous thing. Like this just makes my city look like ass in the eyes of the world. Of course, the food and the Fitz's root beer and our very, very good sports teams make up for it, but still. Here's a statement from our trifling ass mayor, Tashara Jones. Everybody deserves to feel safe in their homes, neighborhoods, and communities. Bar PM has provided members of the LGBTQIA plus community with a gathering place and refuge from a society that continues to marginalize their very existence, and incidents like these can break an already fragile trust with law enforcement. This incident is currently under investigation, and the officers involved will be held accountable for any and all misconduct committed while on duty. So, yeah, she's obviously going to be working to sweep shit under the rug. Like, she hasn't done anything. Like, our jail is fucking horrible. Like, people are literally dying in our fucking jail. Look at this. Missouri Auditor. Oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. No. Like, we have our state auditor launching an investigation into the St. Louis City Justice Center. This is Tashara Jones's jail. And while she's releasing these, like, half-ass statements, like, this is what's going on. Like, people are literally dying in my city's prison. Well, jail. Jail is different than prison. We had one of the members of the oversight board resign. Like, Tish Jones has a lot of shit that she could be doing that she's not because she's a fucking crook. Her dad, Vervis Jones, if I recall correctly, went to jail. And this guy played a heavy role in her campaign. So, yeah, she's a crook. This was earlier this month. Get the fucking article alone. Another detainee death. City office officials have not released the man's identity. He was found in a cell at City Justice Center unconscious from an apparent suicide attempt at approximately 6:09 in the morning. He was transported to a hospital where he was pronounced dead at approximately 6:45 a.m. So they had changed the contractor that was providing healthcare at the facility, um, and a bunch of other things. But like, yeah, the warden, the director of this jail, was asked if she believed the jail was safe for detainees and staff, and she responded, "Nothing's ever 100% because you don't know people, but I can say when I'm aware of something, I address it." No, you don't. That's why people want to get you fired. So they identified the guy that died, Javon White, 34 years old. But yeah, so that's what Tish Jones should be focusing on. And there was like I said, a solidarity bar crawl. Um in solidarity with the owners of this bar, because the police had fucked them over. And this is what the cops did. They showed up with a paddy wagon and a bunch of cop cars just to, I don't know, torment people even more. So yeah, this is how they do. It was an incredible turnout though. Like, people showed up and they weren't intimidated. And they're still referring to it as an officer involved crash. The mental gymnastics required to justify drafting headlines with this sort of passive and vague language must be exhausting. Journalism has gone from writing "dog bites man" to saying a canine involved biting. But yeah, I went to school with this lady, Alderman Sonia. She says that the incident that happened at Bar PM, a safe space for an already marginalized community, early Monday morning, is a manifestation of our flawed criminal justice system. Video footage has shown a much different story than what the police have reported, and the community and I have more questions than answers at this time. The response by STLMPD is unacceptable and exposes what is wrong with our criminal justice system. As such, I make the following calls to action. All charges against Chad Morris should be dismissed immediately. The body and dash cam footage must be released ASAP. The officers and prosecutors involved should be investigated for any and all misrepresentations and misconduct. In addition to the previously stated actions, I urge my colleagues on the Public Safety Committee to take seriously our duties of oversight. This is yet another incident that evidences that police cannot and should not police themselves, and underscores the importance of transparency and accountability for city government, and the dangers we face if our police department is exempt from these foundational tenets. Finally, I also want to uplift Mr. Morris's ask that we support his business by having a birthday drink with him at Bar PM tonight. So they locked this dude up on his birthday. Bastards. I'm sorry that Mr. Morris spent part of his birthday in a jail cell, but please know that the 7th Ward and I stand with you in full solidarity. Hashtag all not some. Rasheen Aldridge, who is gay, says that the police officers who ran into Bar PM should be held accountable. The public needs transparency and should be confident in our law enforcement officers who are supposed to protect and serve. Emphasis on supposed. We are looking forward to the appropriate response from leadership. So, like, how do you stop stuff like this from happening? I mean, you have to, like, make the police afraid of the consequences when they fuck up this bad. Like, they do stuff like this. Like, they get drunk, they get high, and they hop into squad cars because they know that nothing is going to happen to them if something untoward happens when they do stuff like this. So, yeah, whatever it takes, like, we have to make the police afraid of the people. They cannot just be an unaccountable standing army that does whatever the fuck they want. That's called being a mercenary. That's not called being a public servant. Of course, I'm not under the delusion that cops are public servants of any type. But like, if while we're still on the reformist tip, because like there's not going to be a revolution in the United States tomorrow, but there are still things that could be done, as we saw in Alderwoman Sonia's statement, to prevent shit like this from happening, or hold those accountable who do hold those accountable who engage in horrible actions like this. This is the guy that was arrested, Chad Morris. They beat the shit out of him. Look at all these fucking bruises. He's got a black eye. Like, they fucked dude up for no reason. So he held a press conference after he was released from jail.
As you guys can see, we're pleased to report that Chad's out. He's very emotional. He's going to just make one quick statement. As you can see, close your eyes. They beat him pretty terribly. He's got bruises all across his body. This is for the offense of asking why they handcuffed his husband. Just step up here. Step down.
Just want to say that I'm really glad to be out, and it's been an emotional time, but I'm happy for the support and to be out and to become better on my husband's birthday, so I want to just go home. Thank you.
He's going to go. I'll stick around to answer any remaining questions you guys have. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So this just shows that, like, how fascism sets itself in. Like, I'm pretty sure that these cops had some homophobic shit going on. At another point in the video, Morris asks who was sucking whose dick when the police car crashed. Only in St. Louis. I love my people. Gay people in particular. The video does show the aftermath of Morris going in the gangway, followed by police. Morris is pulled from the gangway and placed under arrest. "You're the one who fucking hit me in the face," he yells. When Morris was released from jail this morning, he had a visibly black eye and scratches on his face. As you can see, they beat him pretty terribly, Kazali said. He's got bruises all over his body. This is for the offense of asking why they handcuffed his husband. So, yeah. As always, fuck the police. This is what happens when you have unaccountable cops who drive drunk and drive high and are allowed to do whatever the fuck they want, and knowing that they won't be held accountable. These cops need to be arrested, and they need to be fired, and there needs to be a thorough investigation of the lead up and aftermath of this event, because, like, this happens to black people every fucking day. And now the cops are doing it to white people. They're doing it to everybody. But remember that black people remain the vanguard of the fight against police oppression and torture and torment in this country. So it's important for white queer comrades to stand with us and not just sit up in their bars and in their other fancy highfalutin places when black trans people and black queer people, or black people in general, are being attacked. Like, yeah, now that it's happening to one of y'all, that's bad. That's horrible. And we all have to pay attention. But when it's happening to us, a lot of white queer people, a lot of white gay men, white cis gay men, either support and defend the police, or they are silent, or they pursue a liberal tack. So it's important that we let things like us, like this, demonstrate that nobody is really safe. Nobody is really safe under fascism. I believe it was Aimé Césaire who said that fascism is basically just colonialism turned inward. This is the consequence. I'm BRG. Good night. Watch for speeding drunk cops.